Fighters of the 8th Regiment of the Ukrainian Special Operations Forces have destroyed a sabotage group of the occupying Russian army in the center of the city of Kupiansk in Kharkiv region. The Russian saboteurs who entered the city took up positions in one of semi-destroyed buildings. The Ukrainian fighters attacking the area cleared the building of Russian soldiers using small arms, hand grenades, and also anti-tank mines. The Ukrainian fighters were able to complete the operation without suffering any losses. Viktor Trehubov, head of the communications department of the Joint Forces Group, said that Russian invading forces are trying to hold positions in the northern districts of Kupiansk in Kharkiv region, while Ukrainian units have in recent days actively conducted counterattacks, driving the enemy out of fortified positions. There is an ongoing operation, troops are engaged and urban fighting is underway. Currently, the Russians are directly in the northern districts of the city, trying to hold positions against Ukrainian counteractions, while the Ukrainians have been quite effectively attempting to push them out in recent days, the spokesperson said. Trehubov noted that logistics for accessing Kupiansk are extremely difficult for both Ukrainian units and the enemy. Every attempt to get there is a very large task, even for an infantry group. If we're talking about transport, it's even more complicated, he emphasized. According to the spokesperson, drones and assault infantry play a significant role in the fighting. There are many drones lying along the roads and fiber optic lines, just waiting for something to pass by, so the main pressure now falls on the shoulders of assault infantry on both sides, as well as on general infantry and the effectiveness of the UAV operators, Trehubov explained. He also highlighted the impact of aviation and the use of guided bombs, noting that the region's proximity to the Russian border complicates the situation. Ukrainian forces launched another powerful strike against targets in Russia last night. There is information that Ukraine used upgraded long Neptune missiles. President Volodymyr Zelensky announced this, noting that such strikes are a just response to Russia's ongoing terror against Ukraine. According to him, Ukrainian missiles are now regularly demonstrating increasingly accurate and tangible results. The head of state also published a video of the launches. Earlier, Zelensky said that his forces successfully used long Neptunes against designated targets on Russian territory, and this is our entirely just response to Russia's ongoing terror. Ukrainian missiles are delivering increasingly significant and precise results virtually every month. He added, "I thank everyone working on our missile program and giving Ukraine this accuracy and long-range capability." Ukraine is also scaling up production of its new long-range Flamingo cruise missile this winter. Developed inside the country by Ukrainian firm Firepoint, the cruise missile has an estimated range of 3,000 kilometers, according to Kyiv. Sometimes referred to as the FP-5 missile, the warhead weighs in at more than a ton, the company says. Ukrainian media reported the missile has a flight time of roughly 4 hours, with a maximum speed in the region of 950 km per hour and a 6-meter wingspan. Recall, the main target of the attack was Novorossiysk, one of Russia's key ports on the Black Sea. A series of explosions occurred there, followed by a massive fire at the oil terminal. Judging by the scale of the operation and the aftermath of the attack, there is no doubt that this was the area where the long Neptunes were deployed. The Sheskari's terminal, a strategic facility for Transneft, was hit. It is a key export hub for Russian oil and petroleum products, transporting huge volumes of fuel to foreign markets. Russian authorities confirmed damage to the oil depot and coastal infrastructure. Local residents reported severe fires that broke out immediately after the landings. According to the Russian task force, one of the vessels was damaged in the port, injuring 3 crew members. Fragments of the downed drones fell across the city, damaging several residential buildings. One of the strikes hit a Russian S-300-400 air defense system positioned on the territory of Military Unit 1537. There are also reports of a possible hit to a depot containing caliber missiles, which Russia regularly uses in attacks on Ukraine.
The English-language publication Foreign Policy writes that US policy toward Russia's war against Ukraine has long been based on the mistaken assumption that Vladimir Putin can be persuaded to abandon his imperial ambitions. Washington was trying not so much to help Kyiv recapture the occupied territories as to demonstrate to the Kremlin that its invasion was doomed to failure. The assumption was that, having realized this, Putin would agree to negotiations and a possible peaceful settlement. However, the reality turned out to be quite different. Nearly 12 years of war and almost 4 years since the full-scale invasion, it has become clear. The Russian dictator is incapable of admitting defeat. He still dreams of reuniting Ukraine with Russia and has no intention of stopping despite the enormous losses. As Foreign Policy notes, Putin is guided not by common sense, but by his own illusions and obsessions. He is obsessed with restoring Russia's status as a great power and is willing to sacrifice the economy, the military, and the lives of hundreds of thousands of Russians to achieve this. The publication recalls his meeting with US President Donald Trump when Putin derailed the negotiations, refusing even to discuss compromises and launching into yet another monologue about the Brotherhood of Nations. This position was a tragedy for Ukraine, but also an opportunity for the entire democratic world. Russia is rapidly losing influence, the economy is heading towards stagnation, and military losses have exceeded all previous conflicts since World War II. According to analysts, Putin's destructive policies have effectively destroyed Russia's role as a geopolitical player. The country is turning into an isolated and weakened regime, sustained solely by propaganda and fear. Foreign Policy emphasizes it's time for the West to abandon its illusions that Putin can be persuaded. He can't be talked to. We can only wait until his system collapses from within. This will take time and resources, but it is precisely this strategy that will bring Ukraine closer to victory and offer a chance for the revival of democracy after Putin's Russia has finally lost its place in the world. Media previously reported that Trump does have a way to force dictator Putin to begin negotiations. Trump, according to analysts, has realized that ending the war quickly is impossible, but he is capable of creating political and military conditions that will eventually force Moscow to back down. Washington believes the president could initiate a global peace summit where a majority of countries would support a ceasefire without complying with Putin's absurd demands. Even China, the publication emphasizes, would find itself in an awkward position if it openly supported continued aggression. Such a scenario would not only isolate Russia, but also show the world who truly desires peace and who desires continued bloodshed.